Hi everyone, I'm Ali and welcome to Creating with Ali. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can create some digital pattern papers that you might sell on a digital platform that you own, or that you could use to create KDP books, or that you might just like to use to print off at home for your own use in your own craft projects. If this is something that you are interested in, then make sure that you stick around and watch the video. Before we do jump across to the computer, this channel is all about creating, and that could be creating a passive income, or it could be creating around the garden, in the kitchen, or in your craft room. So let's pop across to the computer now and I'll show you how you might go about creating these products. Before I can get started in making these pattern papers, I do need to go in and create a source file. And to do this, I have gone into a piece of software called Ideogram. Now, Ideogram is free to use. You will have a limited amount of generations that you'll be able to do, but it will be enough to create yourself some sort of source file. These are the ones that I did for Christmas. Now, I've selected the ones that I've wanted and I have run them through a program called Vectorizer AI. Now, this has vectorized the image, and this means that I can zoom in as much as I like to that image and it's not going to impact on the quality. These are my images that I have vectorized from Ideogram. If I click on this one here and I start zooming in to this particular file, you see that it is maintaining those clear lines. Now obviously if you get too close, you're going to see those. However, this image is quite large and no one is going to be looking at the detail from that particular angle. Now, if you want to know what the prompts were, I will show you. So I'm going to use this image here, and the prompt is over here. So I'll keep that up on the screen there for a moment. You can see that the prompt is very descriptive. The more descriptive you are with your prompts within a AI generator, the better the image is that you're going to get. The next image that I decided to keep was this one here. And this is the magic prompt for that one. And coming back up, I think I chose this one here. This is the magic prompt for that one. And the final one was this one here. And this is the image prompt for this one. So you can pause the screen at any stage and you can go through and have a look and see what those prompts are. So coming back out of this and knowing that I have already got my vectorized image saved, I can come into Repa. Now I've already logged in to the Repa app. This is the initial entry, and here you can try it free for 14 days and there's no credit card required. I tried it for about 7 and then I went, wow, this is pretty cool, and then I ended up purchasing it myself. And like I said, in the description below there is a link that you can use to purchase Repa, and it does provide me with a little commission, and it does help me with this channel because creating things for YouTube costs money, would you believe? Alright, so let's pop back into where I have already logged in. So when you go into Repa, whether it's a free trial or otherwise, you'll have a page. It won't have as many of these because I've been creating a fair bit, but you'll be able to create a new collection. And I'm going to call this collection, let's just call this Xmas 1, and create. And then it will ask you to upload your image. And this is where I will need to upload the source images that I've created. These are the 4 source images that I'd like to upload. You have to do them one at a time. So that's one. And then I want to go upload. Come here to where it says change image, upload. And finally, I want to upload the very last one. Now I might not use all of these in this video. In fact, the one that I'm really wanting to try out is this one here. And the reason why is because it has got lots of different square images in it, and I can use these icons in Repper to create some patterns. Now, to create the patterns themselves, you just click and you can drag this in the smaller window and it will show you the pattern coming, and it will show you the pattern in the window. Okay, so as you move it around, you can see that that pattern is changing. Now, all of these patterns have been created within the octagon tiling option. If you click here, you will notice that you have got many more options to choose from. So there are a few, and if I just hover over each of these, you can see that they change quite significantly. So when you have these, and you also move that other cursor around in the pattern window, you can imagine the possibilities that you'll be able to get for different patterns in your projects. If you come across, that's the seamless ones. If you want a seamed pattern, there are even further options, and these seamed patterns will come in very handy with the actual source file that I've just shown you. Okay, so again, lots of really cool pattern opportunities here. So let's come back out to seamless, and I will choose just facade for the time being. Other things that I can show you are that here it will tell you what your tile and image size are. So you can see this is quite a large image size. If you click and drag this at all, it's going to change up the tile size that it has here. Along the top, you can even just have the tile, which would be the repeating tile that would be created. You can have the surface pattern itself. You can also look at what this pattern might look like 3D, and down here you can choose a whole bunch of options for where that pattern could be placed. So if you are doing patterning for things like print on demand services, you can kind of get an idea then about what these might look like. And you're also able to download these and use them within your site. Okay. Now coming back over here to surface, you can slide in and out to also get an idea of what that pattern might look like. And also further along the top here, there is a little dream sequence. If you select this mode and you start to speed it up so you can see it, it will move through. If at any time you see a pattern as it's going through here that you like, you can hit over here on this little plus sign and it will save it for you. So you can bring this speed right down low and just watch as it goes through. It's actually quite soothing to watch that. It's going to hit stop on that. There are a whole bunch of other effects that you can have a look at here. And they are things like adjusting your colors, setting it to black and white, duotone where you can pick the two colors or use one of the options that are given to you. You can create seam borders around your patterns depending on which pattern you've chosen, of course. Tile borders. You also have surface effects like metamorphosis. If I zoom out, you can see what that looks like. You can put in a surface border, a vignette, gradients. Again, you can choose the color or use a preset one, and halftone. So there are quite a few options available to you in this piece of software. I'm going to head back to pattern now because I want to have a look at making some patterns and show you how I'm going to do that. Oh, just before I do start, here you can actually turn your pattern to the side. Okay, so you can rotate it as well for a different look again. There we go. and I come in, if I'm choosing the center, I go to seamed and come into rectangular grid. And if I just make that a little bit bigger, I can get my centers to sit in a pattern as well. So if I just zoom in, so I can get a center pattern that sort of sits independently of everything else, and this is pretty handy too. So I can center him. Now I really like this center, so over here where there is a plus sign, I can save that snapshot, and that's going to save that for me, and I can come back and save it later. Now I might just move that out a little bit more. Okay, that's better. See how this one's got a little white bit in there? I'm just going to save it so it's more of a clear image. And then I can move that square to any of the other ones as well. So I quite like this one here. And if I move that out, okay. So you can create, imagine this as a wrapping paper, couldn't you? Now, if it is, you can see that it's not quite seamless. This is where you can go into effects like this, and you can put in a surface border, or sorry, a tile border. And that then doesn't matter about the fact that it's not seamless. And you can play around with this border, and you can make it smaller. You can make it more round if you wanted it to be more round. So let's just zoom out and have a look at that. Okay, so that's a really cool pattern. So I'm going to save that one as well. And then I'll take the tile border off so that I can come back to my pattern. So I could do that with each of these. This one here potentially doesn't need to have a border around it because it has got the red. Just make sure that you fiddle around so you can get rid of those white lines or green lines. It just means that you've got to come in a little bit. There we go. Okay, that's looking good. I'll add that one. Okay, that's a bit different again, a little bit more subtle. Down here with the Christmas trees, this isn't going to quite line up either. I might be able to, no, because they're, you can see if I zoom in, it can almost get there, but these are going to be a bit off. So that would mean I'm going to go back into effects and I'm going to put in a tile border. This time I'm going to make the tile border, I'm going to pick up the color picker and, sorry, choose the color picker. Sorry, use it on here. Okay, so you can pick it there, or let's make it red. Or you can make it green, you can make whatever color you like. I might go red, and I might reduce the roundness, and I might increase the width a little bit. I still don't like these dots, so let's come back out to the image. Okay, that's looking a little bit more symmetrical, and I will save. So I'm going to keep going through and saving those ones. I'll just come back to effects and turn that off just so I can show you another pattern here, because I am looking at those gridded patterns here for these particular ones. But if I come into something like, for instance, seamless, let's do, what's a good one? Maybe the octagon. And then I can reduce this down. You don't want to reduce it too much because you don't want your tile size too small. But if I move this around, then I get a whole other gamut of different themed patterns. And if you zoom in close, you can really work on what it is that you're seeing as you move around. Let's change up the image and come to, actually I might go to this one here. So this can give you a bit of a playful take on some of those as well. This one's pretty cool. And you could just go with something just as simple as that. So once you have finished playing around and you have a few different patterns here, which I do, then you can come across to exporting them. Now you can export all of them all at once. Sometimes that takes a little while and there can be problems with that, just because you're dealing with such large files. And you can download in different ways. So you could download that in 3D, for example. There we go, there's a Christmas dress. I'm going to download that one because I can take this into Canva, I can put it on my thumbnail. Here we are, so let's export that. Right, so getting back to the papers, if I would like to download this, then I'll choose PNG. You can choose JPEG as well. You can do it to fit the preview area, or you can come here to custom. Now when you go to custom, depending on which pattern you've chosen, you might be able to tile it. But here it will give you a unit in pixels. So if you are trying to download for something like, for example, Society 6, let's say. So let's keep it as surface. One of the files on Society 6, and this is what's so good about Repa as well, is that you can download files in huge sizes. But one of them is 12,000 by 12,000. Okay, so that is one of the source file sizes that Society 6 has. Now here it will tell you that to get an effective DPI, you might need to reduce the size or increase the repeat. So let's increase the repeat. So if you downloaded this, this would be a file all ready to go into Society 6. And you could do this at all three sizes that Society 6 use, which is 15,000 by 900 or 8,000 by 12,000. Sorry, 15,000 by 9,000, 8,000 by 12,000, and 12,000 by 12,000. So if you did the 3 downloads for this particular file, then you would be able to upload that to Society 6 for so it can be presented on a whole lot of print-on-demand products. Society 6 is not a bad site. If you were thinking about creating some passive income, that might be one to have a look at. If you were wanting to do something, say, in inches, so for example, if I'm going to create a KDP pattern, sort of like craft paper books, and I do scrapbook pattern paper pads in KDP, then I might come down here to inches, and if I was doing an 8.5 by an 8.5 inch pattern paper book, then I could set that up and I could download that in 8.5 by 8.5. If I was doing an 8.5 by 11, then I would download this file, and then that would be printed at 8.5 by 11. I'm going to download this file here, so I'm going to export it, and you can change it up and make it a JPEG or a PNG. It's totally up to you. I might do a JPEG file. It'll tell you what the pixel size is there, and I'm just going to export that because I'm going to print these out and show you what they print like. So Christmas paper 1. How big it is there is how it will be presented on the page as well, just that, you know, so if I had it like this, then the pattern would come out like that on a piece of 8.5 by 11. So if you zoom in, it makes the pattern bigger when you download it. So basically just increasing the scale there. And I really quite like this one too. So I'm going to decrease the scale. It will tell you over here, you'll get a little warning shot if it's not going to print the way that you would like. So let's export this as Christmas paper 3, and we'll call this Christmas paper 4. Okay, so the files that you just saw me download, I've gone ahead and I've printed onto some card. This is just Canson white card, and this is what they've come out like. So there we have the Santas, we have the green snowflake. If you're wondering why it has this white border here, it's because the A5 size here in Australia isn't the standard US 8.5 by 11. So this is, I could put in the actual millimeters and it would have printed this properly, but it's okay. I'll just keep it as 8.5 by 11. It's fine. This is the other. So these are all, and I really, really like this one. If you like what you see, if you don't know much about Repper and you'd like, so I'm using a program called Repper in this, in this video. If you would like to try out Repper, there is a 14-day free trial and there is a link below in the description that you can use. If you do decide that you're going to go ahead and purchase Repper, then there is a commission that gets paid to me. So please consider whether or not this is something that you might be able to use. And if it is, then you can benefit from clicking on that link below. Thanks for watching the video today, everybody. I hope this has given you a little bit of inspiration as to how you might be able to use digital pattern papers in your I hope this has given you a bit of inspiration as to how you might be able to use digital pattern papers either in your crafting, in developing items for a craft fair, using it for KDP, whether that be covers or internal pages, and also how you might go about incorporating these papers into a digital file that could be downloaded and used by others. I will see you in the next video. Alright, so I know that I've stuck with a bit of a Christmas theme today. So how could you use Repper to help you create products that you could make money on? Well, number one, you could print off your own pattern papers that you can use for projects that you're going to sell in things like craft markets, craft fairs, or craft items that you build and make online that you sell. So that opens you up to being able to sell things on, say, Etsy or eBay if you are in the market for creating sort of DIY craft options. You could make up printed paper packs that you sell on either of those platforms. You could put these patterns into booklets or paper pads like this, which I've done in the past, and create scrapbook paper pads for print on demand, okay, like KDP. The only problem with these is that they're not perforated. However, if you have a steel ruler and an X-Acto knife, you can easily cut these pages out, and I always put that in the description when I am letting people know before they buy this book. And if you want to see how I do that, I'm going to be making some projects with these papers in an upcoming video, probably the next one. Other things that you could do with these pattern papers is keep them digital and sell them as digital paper pattern packs. You could do that through places like Creative Fabrica, again Etsy, or Creative Fabrica, Etsy, maybe even if you had a PayHip store. So I'm going to start putting some of these packs in my own PayHip store. So you might be interested in having a look at those if you are not wanting to go to the trouble of creating your own. You can use these patterns at any print on demand because you've created them, because you have created them yourself. You own the copyright, so you can upload these onto products at print on demand stores. For example, Spoon Flower, Society 6, Redbubble. You could try out Redbubble. There are a whole heap of different platforms that you could potentially use to put these particular patterns onto products that people might enjoy purchasing. So there are lots and lots of options for you to make some income out of this one piece of software. I'm going to be using some of these pattern papers that I've created using Repper in some craft projects. If you enjoy following along with craft projects, then by all means make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those videos. Thanks for sticking around today and watching this video. I hope this has given you a little bit more insight as to how Repper might help you when it comes to either creating materials that you're going to use within your own craft room, or opportunities for how you might use this piece of software to create a bit of income for yourself. Until next time, have a great time creating. I'll see you in the next video.